I practiced that all morning. Found out she was here. And of course, our guest speaker today, our Sheriff Gary Gulledge. I think he was elected. I'm pretty sure he was elected. He was re-elected. And we'll give Gary a little time to swallow his cake and gulp down his tea and have him come up. We'll go ahead and tell you that our next lunch is March the 12th, and our guest speaker will be the Paulding County Administrator, Michael Jones. I'm going by my cheat sheet here. I find I'm getting older. I get confused a lot, so then keep me filled in. And, I find that y'all getting older having trouble with signs, reading signs and understand what they say. You don't have that problem? I was out of town week before last, and I was driving down the highway, and I saw a sign in front of a boot store. It said, "Buy two, get one free." Now, how does that work? What do you do with that? Which one do you get? You get the extra right or the extra left? And how does that wear? How do you rotate those? And what if you lose one and it's not the one you got the extra one? I was also, same day, I was going to lunch. And I was out driving around and I saw a sign that says, "All you can eat, drive-through." I'm burning half a tank of gas eating lunch. All right, Sheriff, we'll turn it over to you, because I'm at a joke. I know the Sheriff will have something to vote for us.
It's going to be hard to follow that. I'm going to ride around and around the drive-through this time. I'm like you, though. When they tell you to drive around, they go right around and come back later. Messes them up. I don't know who I made mad or who's mad at y'all in this organization and invited me to come speak. I'm not much of a speaker. I'll try to enlighten you with some details about what's going on in the community. A lot of y'all I know in the room, a lot of you I don't. So he said, I'm Gary Gulledge, I'm the sheriff. I've been working for Paulding County Sheriff's Office for 25 years. I feel like I've been here my whole life. Started off working in the jail, kind of done a little bit of everything there other than investigations. I worked in the jail. I came out and worked on patrol for a while, worked in warrants for a while, chasing bad people. Best job I ever had, well, almost the best job I ever had. Sheriff Harris came into the office one day and told me that he wanted to start a K-9 unit. So told me he wanted me to find a dog to start a K-9 unit, and I thought, I ain't interested in no dogs. Sheriffs being what they are, he won, and I wound up being the first dog handler in the county. I had a dog named Bosco, and it's a dual-purpose dog. I worked him up until I got elected, and I was on my second dog. I told everybody when I get elected, I said, I'm going to keep my dog, and I'm still going to be the sheriff, and I'm going to work a dog too. I thought that'd be the coolest thing in the world. Then I found out what I got elected to do. And my dog was laying in the car all day long waiting on me to go home. So I finally give up the dog, which was kind of hard to do, let another handler have him, and he has since retired. My heart's always been with K-9. I love chasing bad guys. I like getting the bad guys off the street and putting them in jail. I got elected sheriff, and the last thing you get to do when you're the sheriff is police. So a little funny story, I was turning in the office. My mom took care of an older guy that lived right above our office. It was convenient because when her cat was on her roof, she would call me, and I could be there instantly. Of course, the first time I called her, she said, the cat's on the roof. I said, Mother, have you ever seen a cat skeleton on the roof? She said, never mind, I'll get it myself, and hung up on me. So I jump in my car and I take off to Mom's, and she's about this high off the ground on the ladder, and she's 78 years old going to rescue her cat. Then she tells me, she said, well, I've been out on the road for about an hour trying to flag somebody down to help me. And I said, Mother, please just call me. So I had a lot of fun with that, but I'm turning in the office and I see a car, and the older guy she took care of it died, and my mother had died. So the house is empty, and I seen a car dive off in the yard, and I thought, this is going to be fun. So I drive down the road, and he goes and drives his car around behind the house. Needless to say, he was piling metal up. I eased my car off on the side of the road, and I walked up. I was 5 foot from the guy, and he's just piling his stuff up, and he don't know I'm in the world. And he finally raises up and looks, and I says, how you doing? He said, oh, just pilfering around. I said, you know what we call that in New Hope? He said, what's that? I said, thieves. And of course, somebody had planted dope in his pocket, and he had all kind of problems. My guys were having a fit. It's like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? I said, I still know how to be a cop. You know, I used to be one, so now I just play one on TV. But every time I talk to a group of people, I try to impress upon everybody, and I grew up here. A lot of y'all have. This county has changed tremendously. I try to make an impact on everybody and remind you. As much as I'd like to tell you I'm the next Andy Griffith and Paulding County is Mayberry, that's the farthest thing from the truth that anybody could lead you to believe. This is not Mayberry anymore. This place has changed. There's a lot going on. We stay extremely busy. When I first went on patrol, it was 1990. We had one high school. Nobody ever asked you what school you went to. There was only one. Then we have 5 high schools. Does anybody have any idea how many schools there are in this county at this time? 32. We got 32 schools in the county, and probably looking to add more. People are starting to move back in. When I went to work here, there was one red light. When I become a cop, there was one red light. It was at the old courthouse in Dallas, and it only changed colors on Sundays. Everybody go up after church and watch it change colors. But that's what I started off in. Anybody have any idea how many red lights there are in the county today?
There's 78.
There's 62 red lights in Paulding County. And there's a wreck at some of them right now, I promise you. I don't know what it is about the red stop, green go. Some people get so confused. It may be this guy that's talking about the signs. Red stop, green go. If you don't, we have to go to work. I hate to give everybody numbers, but one thing that I like to do is I figure if we don't tell y'all what we're doing, we're not doing anything. So every time I get a chance, I tell you what we're doing. I got a year-end report for last year for 2014. And I know a lot of people say, well, you know, I see your cars all the time, and I'm trying to push them, you know, instead of parking behind places and doing reports, get out and be seen. Burn the roads up. As long as we're riding, maybe we're riding by and stopping some crime. Who knows? But last year we patrolled 2,955,630 miles. So we put a lot of miles on the cars. We wear cars out. We arrested 3,969 people last year. You know, like I said, this ain't Mayberry. There's a lot going on, and it's just a nonstop. Welcome to our side, Dean Bucci. Out of those, you should have a few to keep you busy. Paulding County Sheriff's Office is different than a lot of people that moves here. I know a lot of people moved here from Cobb, and they're used to the Cobb County Sheriff's Office. They don't do traffic. They don't answer calls. They have Cobb Police and Cobb Sheriffs. In Paulding County, we're a full-service sheriff's office. If you call 911, we're it. If you need an investigator, we're it. If you have a wreck, we're it. So everything that goes on here is, anything goes wrong, my fault. So any of my guys makes you mad, it's my fault. Anything that's not going on good, my fault. So if you're hunting somebody to blame me. I'm good at it. I've even stopped cars before, and they're like, "You're a sheriff, you can't stop me." I said, "Yeah, I can." But they're used to county police, and the county sheriffs don't do traffic stops. It's not politically correct, but when I took office, we had buried about, I'm trying to remember, 21, 22 fatalities that we'd had on the roads in Paulding County. So I turned our guys loose. I said, look, put a stop to it. You know, try not to be overzealous about things, but if it's speeding, if it's reckless driving, if it's DUI, I said, let's put a stop to it. We got the numbers down in 2 years down below 5. I think we got it down to 4. We had 4 fatalities that year. We've already had 1 this year. Right now, we don't think it was involved in any speed or anything. It was just an accident. But to say that, so I can say this is, they always say that sheriff's office, since we get elected, we don't write tickets. And then some people say we write tickets because we have a quota. And I usually cut up with the guys and tell them, I said, we don't have a quota. I'll let my guys write all the tickets they want to, as long as they make good cases. But we wrote 4,588 traffic citations last year. So, you know, our guys stay pretty busy. Does it generate money? Yes. Does it generate money for the sheriff's office? No. And you can ask any guys that works for me, I tell them, if you make good cases, nobody will ever say a word to you. If you never write a ticket your whole career here, nobody will ever say a word to you. If you write 10 tickets a day and make good cases, nobody will say a word to you. So I have people that they love to work traffic, and I have people that hates to work traffic. And I don't care if they're working traffic or just patrolling, as long as they're out and being seen. 911 calls, every call that goes into 911, and they send us to it, we issue a case number for it. Last year we had just under 60,000 calls that we answered for service. So it keeps us hopping. Anybody that says we don't do anything, please turn your phone. There's a scanner app on it. Turn it on and listen. You'll be surprised what goes on. We stay hopping all the time. We have a Facebook page at the Sheriff's Office. If you want to go in there and like it, we kind of post some stuff that we're into, and you can kind of keep up what's going on with us, and we try to keep the public informed. Our high volume calls, of course, we always have a bunch of alarms. It's about 5,000 alarm calls. One of the biggest issues we have is this is a bedroom community. Everybody goes to work and come home and fights with their husband and wife because they don't have any money or they can't pay the bills, but we had 2,800 domestics last year. A lot of them are no-win situations. A lot of them is, and I can usually tell them, if you and your husband or you and your wife can't get along at home, I don't know what I can do to help you. But they call us anyway. We make a lot of arrests for domestic violence. We take it serious. If you put your hands on your significant other without cause, we'll put you in jail. Have no problem with it. Keeps the courts busy. It keeps everybody busy. We also have a warrants division, which is what we serve all the civil papers in the county that, well, not all of them. We serve most of the civil papers in the county. We serve 7,421 subpoenas at civil papers, which gets people to court, and it also gets lawsuits done. Like if you've had a problem with a renter or somebody owes you money, we serve those suits. We transported 669 prisoners. We've handled about 4,800 suspicious incidents with either persons or vehicles. We answered over 3,000 theft by takings, burglaries, and entering autos. We've got a problem with entering autos. If I can impress anything upon you when you leave here today, do you have something valuable in your car at night? A, take it out of the car. B, lock your car. Every night, these going through these subdivisions, they're just hitting the door locks. If your door opens, they're going to take what you got in it. Most of the time, they won't break a window, they won't make any noise, they'll just go to the next car. But they go in subdivisions, and when you pull in your subdivision at night, look down the street at all the cars sitting there. They pop the doors every morning. It's computers. I'm amazed what people leave in their cars. Cash, billfolds, pocketbooks, GPSs, telephones, pistols, rifles. It's every day, it's something. So if you have or usually what I tell everybody is to do like I did, clean out your garage and park in it. That's what it's designed for. But nobody parks in their garage. I know everybody says that we don't stop cars, so I can make a liar out of them too. We've done 8,566 traffic stops last year, so we stop a lot of cars. We don't write them all tickets, we don't lock them all up, but we do a lot of traffic enforcement. We cleared up 3,262 warrants, 574 different zone patrols where we've been asked to kind of take a special look at something. I see a few people in this room, they'll call and say, we've got this problem going on, can y'all step up and patrol on that thing? We handled 1,460 juvenile incident reports, 360 of those were assigned, and 549 kids was charged with a crime. So we keep our juvenile courts busy also. I put a letter out. I don't know, a lot of people don't even see the Paulding New Year anymore, the Dallas New Year anymore. I put a letter in it about something that's driving law enforcement crazy right now. There's a new thing has come to Paulding. It's called heroin. It's stuff we all heard about growing up. Back when I worked a drug dog, we had 5 different kinds of drugs that my dog found, and every year we had to go certify. So these certifying officials would come in a room like this and hide 2 different hides in this room of marijuana, and that room would have 2 different hides of methamphetamine in this room. So you take your dog and you'd have to search the room and find it. Well, I'd go into this room and Bosco would go over and start smelling something, and he'd turn around and look at me, and I'd tell the guy, heroin. He's like, your dog tells you what he's smelling? I said, no, we hadn't seen any since last year. Never seen it before. Never found it on the street, never had any dealings with it. We had 15 overdose deaths in Paulding last year on pills. It's Oxycontin, hydrocodone, Xanax, you name it, or a combination of all of them. We have 7 that still pending toxicology reports that died, and we don't know what from yet. It's going to be some kind of either pills or heroin, we don't know which. We had 10 heroin overdose deaths. I should have pulled the numbers on the ones we've saved. They've come out with a drug where if they get to them before they die, they can hit them with this Narcan, and it reverses it effect immediately. And I know last weekend thinking, what day is this? Is last weekend, I think, we had one that overdosed. And when the EMS got there, they gave him this Narcan and brought him back, so we saved him. I talked to the chief from a local jurisdiction, not in Paulding, but he said they have saved the same person 3 times with Narcan. And of course, he's getting a lot of heat about, you know, how come we got to keep paying to save this guy? I'm thinking, how do you put a price on the value of this person's life? No matter if he's a heroin addict or what he is, he's still somebody's brother, mother, father, sister. He's something to somebody. A lot of these heroin overdoses, I got a lot of parents that's, for lack of a better word, they're mad at me because it's my fault. They're overdosing in their house, in their parents' house, in their bedroom. I keep trying to impose upon people, it's your house, it's your kids. Get involved in what they're doing. Pay attention to what's going on. Don't ignore what they're doing. If they're shooting up heroin in a bedroom in your house, put a stop to it. Do something. Don't ignore it. Because if you do, they're going to die. This heroin that they're getting, it's coming. Everyone that we've caught selling it here is buying it in the Bluffs in Atlanta and bringing it back here and reselling it. The ones that we've dealt with that hadn't died from it that we've locked up for are buying it in the Bluffs in Atlanta, and a lot of them are shooting it up in Atlanta and then driving back here, and they're wrecking between there and here. There's talked to a lady the other day, her daughter's wrecked her car 3 times last year, and it was all in route back from the Bluffs in Atlanta back to Paulding, but she wouldn't haul the drugs back. She shot it up while she was down there and then tried to drive back while she's under the influence of heroin. It's bad. Everybody asks me, so what are we going to do about it? I wished I had an answer for that question. Fight it. Try to get the public involved in it. Try to get the parents involved in their teenagers. Or most of these people are mid-20s, early 30s. I don't know why they're still living at home. I didn't, that was never an option to me. Of course, I wanted to get out and do my own thing, but they're living in their parents' house and they're hiding in their bedroom. And heroin's different than all the other drugs before. A lot of the other drugs was like party drugs. They smoke pot, they all go to parties and smoke pot. They do meth. These meth geeks, they stay up for days. They're riding up and down the roads or going everywhere. These heroin people are recluses. They want to hide in their room, they want to hide in a closet, they don't want to be around anybody. I don't know what law enforcement is going to do about it. My first response is to try to educate the people that it's going on, which is what I'm trying to do now. I don't know that there's a fix for any of the drug problems. It don't seem like we've won. I've been fighting it since 1990, and I don't know that we're ever going to win. I think as long as anybody has money and they want to do drugs, I don't think anybody can stop you from doing it. It's just like, I'll use Raymond for example, since I like to pick on him. If he wants to leave here and go buy dope and go home and do it, it's kind of hard to catch him, and it's real hard to kind of stop him. If he wants to do it on the side or stay away from his family where nobody knows about it, it's kind of tough to put a stop to it. I firmly believe that education is the key to it. There's help out here for these people. Some of it's free, most of it's not free. A lot of people have a problem with it because they either don't have insurance or they can't afford it. If your kid's messing with heroin or somebody's is, impress upon them at whatever means necessary, try to get them some help. Some of them can't be helped. Some of them's been in rehab. This lady I talked to last week, I think this is her daughter's 6th time in rehab, and she's 21 years old. I've been coaching softball since my daughter was 5, and she's 8, fixing to be 19. So I've been coaching ball a long time. So I've had a lot of interaction with a lot of the girls. One of the girls used to be a pitcher, and she was a pitcher for one of the local high schools here, fast pitch softball. And for lack of a better word for it, she was a stud. She was a house. Everybody wanted her on her team. She was a ball player. She got to dating this boy, got to shooting up, or she couldn't shoot it up. She said they was shooting her up. Since she couldn't do it, they'd do it for her. So I got her probably 1 or 2 doses of heroin away from death. Her boyfriend had overdosed and died, and her boyfriend's stepdad worked for me, so that was my first dealings with it. I went and talked to her dad, found a rehab center. Of course, she didn't want to go, she didn't have a problem, but she sat in my parking lot and I watched her through the window dumping makeup in her hands and doing like hand lotions. and covering the sores up on her face. I mean, it broke my heart. Found her a rehab center in Montgomery County, Georgia. The directions to the place was come into town and it's like a crossroad and a store. Said turn right, go 8 miles to the blue dumpster and turn left. So it's in the boonies. So I argued back and forth with her dad because he wanted to carry her to Atlanta. And I said when she gets mad, and she's going to, and she leaves, she's going to turn left or right, and in less than 2 blocks she'll be buying heroin again. But this was a 19-year-old beautiful girl, athlete, and she sat in my office. She said, I drive down to Fulton Industrial Boulevard. I walk around behind stores with, she didn't really say how many guys was there, and trade whatever they want for whatever I want. Breaks my heart. I don't know how to stop it. And this is another kid that was living home with her parents, and you know, I wanted to slap him and try to knock some sense into him. I'm like, you know, do something to stop. Well, you know, she's 19. I can't do anything. Well, she don't work. Cut off her money. You know, that ain't her car. Park it. Take her keys. But we got her into rehab. The only good part of this story is that she was supposed to get out in 9 months, and she told me I can't leave yet. She stayed 13 months, and she's home. She's been home. Last month, she's been clean for a year. She's working. She got involved in the Celebrate Recovery program. Really, the only thing I think that done her any good while she was in recovery, she found the good Lord. He cleaned her up and got her on the right road and got her feet on the ground. I'm trying to get her to agree to go talk to kids for us now, because I can go to the high schools and I can walk up on a stage with a room full of high school kids, and this is what they hear: mama, 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 mama. But if you can get somebody their age that was standing on their pitcher's mound last year throwing a ball, I'm hoping that I can get her to come talk to these kids and get some of them to use their head. Of course, we all know that kids don't use their heads much. Now I'm gonna quit being sad. But like I said, please remember we don't live in Mayberry. Keep your eyes open for what's going on in your neighborhoods. Y'all are the best thing we got going for you. You know what's normal in your neighborhoods. We don't. If we're riding through and somebody's sitting in your neighbor's driveway and they don't live there, we don't know that, but you do. Don't ever have any fears about calling 911. If you need us, call us and we'll be there. A lot of people don't remember what the number to 911 is, Raymond. It's 911.
They can't find 11 on the phone, is the problem.
Yeah, if you tell them 911, Raymond will be going, I don't see the 11 anywhere. Every time I talk to somebody, I try to open it up, because I tell you what I want you to hear, and then I want you to ask me questions so that I know I can address the problems you got or the questions you got, or try to help you with what's going on. Yes, ma'am.
You were talking about 20 and 30-year-olds on the heroin. How about the high schools? Are you getting any calls from them?
Right now, no. Most of the stuff we're dealing with, high school kids, are still the pills that's coming out of mom and dad's medicine cabinet. We have really no schools any different than others. It's just according to what the day it is. We have problems at all of them. We have problems in all the schools, even the middle schools. These kids gets in their mom and dad's medicine cabinet and shows up at school with stuff they're not supposed to have.
Do you know of anywhere that they're dealing anywhere on, like on 278 from when you come into the city of Hiram out to Dallas?
No, most everything we're finding on the heroin is coming out of Atlanta, out of the Bluffs. Mark Weenie done a real good story. I don't brag on the media very much. Sorry, puppy. Mark Weenie went to the Bluffs himself and took a camera and went into some of these shoot houses. One of these dealers is actually carrying the Narcon. He's got people coming into his little crack house, shooting them up with heroin. They're overdosing. He's doing this and popping them around. I mean, he's acting like a doctor. He's giving this stuff to keep them alive, but this heroin is now laced with, see if I can say this right, fentanyl. It's the same thing they give you. It's the first injection you get in the death chamber at Jackson Prison when they're going to put you to death. It's cancer patients, I think it's the last treatment they get, in patches. It's fentanyl patches they put on. It's a painkiller. So they're lacing this heroin with the fentanyl. I think the problem, and I get asked all the time, you know, why are they overdosing and dying? It's probably our fault a lot, because we've raised so much cane with the pharmaceutical companies about OxyContin. We've made it where it's hard to get. A 30 milligram pill of Oxycontin right now on the street is about $30 a hit. A hit of heroin right now is about $10 a hit. So they can't get the Oxycontins, they go buy heroin. And it's cheaper to start with, but they can't ever get, they get the immediate euphoria and they can never get back there again, so they do more and more. Most of these people will tell you, I can take 30 milligram Oxycontins and I can do 3 at a time. Or I can do 3 a day or 4 a day. With the heroin, they don't know what they're dealing with. There's no dosage, there's no requirements on it. It may be laced with fentanyl, it may be not. And 2 of the ones that we get work that overdosed actually still had the needle stuck in their arms. And both of those was in bedrooms in their parents' houses. Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
I had a question. And I think most of us can relate to this in the room that are, here at some seasoned age, but, it seems like we've been battling this war on drugs in our nation for far too long.
Forever.
And when you think about it, when you think about the fact that we don't grow cocaine here, nor do we grow the plant for the heroin, it's it's mind-boggling to me at my age that we still have such an issue because it's got to come into our country. And I look at it day in and day out and I say to myself, why can't we do more to stop it? I mean, if we wanted to stop so many other issues that are on our global page or in the global news of ourselves, we can. Why haven't we gone further with the narcotics coming into this country?
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Why,
Close the borders.
What?
And I was born over here in New Hope, so I've got a country kind of state of mind. As I was in one of the canine schools, a guy was there from Texas that was teaching the class. And that's what I told him. I said, why don't y'all check every truck that comes across the border? He says, you're joking me, right? I said, no, I'm not joking. Won't y'all search every car that comes across the border? He said, do you know how many tractor trailers a day comes across the border in Laredo, Texas, where I'm stationed? I said, I don't know, 15 or 20? Thousands at just one place.
But our nation is sick because
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
we are just against, and that's someplace we can't be, to be a strong nation. So that's very alarming.
I agree with you. A lot of these guys on the interstate are hitting these people that's hauling it in, but most of it now, most of the heroin that we're finding, they're growing the poppy in Mexico. The Mexican cartels are waiting in line for the next thing to change. They're going to make money off whatever's going on. They did it off marijuana. They did it off methamphetamine. When we got the, see if I can get my mind right. What's the name of the pills? The sinus pills that I need to be taking right now that I'm not? The pseudoephedrine. Once we got the pseudoephedrine pulled off the shelf, we think, well, we've got the methamphetamine thing whooped. What we didn't whoop was the Mexican cartels they started shipping methamphetamine the next week. So I agree with you, closing our borders would protect our country, but that don't say, of course, it's not my job, but it needs to be done. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I have a question. I've been reading your letters and your pleas for help. If we know of a situation and we know that they are selling illicit pills and stuff, what can we do to help y'all? Because it's not like you can sit and watch that happen 24 hours a day.
At least give us the information and let us try. You're right. I don't have enough drug officers to sit there all day long. But if they're working a case on it, you may have I try to tell them every time we work a case is like a ladder. When you call us, we'll put 2 rungs on the ladder up, but we don't have any steps. And maybe Raymond calls next, and same thing going on. We put a step in the ladder, and Pubby calls and says, I've seen the cars are going in and out. There's a car there. Don't stay 2 minutes. And we put another step in the ladder. Help us build the steps until we can get up enough to get a search warrant for the house. Or
And
fine.
that's tried to help me out real good too with that trailer that was by my house that 2 o'clock in the morning, they were out there and they weren't going visiting. And they got wind of it, they moved.
The public gets extremely frustrated with me. They'll call me or send me a message on Facebook that their neighbors are selling drugs. Well, they think as soon as they hang up the phone, they're going to go to the window and watch, and here comes the sheriff's department, and we're going to kick open the doors and take all their stuff. We don't have the rights to go because you say it's going on. If you come out and say, I was in there and I actually seen a wash tub full of heroin on the table, I don't have the authority to go in that house. I can go ask for a search warrant, but I can't do it based on what you've seen. So we can go out there and knock on the door and ask them to come in, and they can let us, or they can tell us to go, whatever it is they like to tell us to do. But, just because you tell us it's going on, don't mean that we're gonna be there in 10 minutes and bust this house. It's just not set up that way. I understand both sides of it. A lot of these, I wish we could just go kick a door open and throw them out of the county, but we can't. And I'm also a constitutionalist that believes that when I'm sitting in my living room minding my own business, I shouldn't be bothered by y'all or the law or nobody else. So it's kind of a fine line that we walk, but and it's the same thing. We get a lot of people that has, I don't know why, but they let people come live in their house. If you let me come live at your house and you give me a room, you no longer have any rights to that room. That's my room. So if we come over, you're like, well, my roommate's living in here and he's got a bunch of dope in there. You can't even let me go in the house you own into their bedroom because they have an expectation of privacy in that room. So there's a lot that the law don't allow us to do that the public, they get mad at us about it. It's like, this is my house. I agree with you, but that room ain't yours. And we run into it all the time.
Great. Do you guys have any undercover?
Yes.
I was just
Yes,
going
ma'am.
to piggyback on the mayor's question, asking how many employees did you have, and do you anticipate seeing Paulding getting more officers?
We're always fighting from behind. That's what I say. We're more reactive than we are proactive because of numbers and because of money. I've got 270 total employees that works for me. 200 and I think I swore one is. I should have 203 gun toters. The rest of them are jailers and admin staff and records clerks. We have 4 that's assigned to the drug task force. Our drug task force is kind of set up. Bubby will remember this. It's not always been, for lack of a better word, run the way it should be. When Bruce Harris came in, he took our drug task force and disbanded what was under the sheriff's office and put it with another county. Well, matter of fact, we was with 2 counties, and I worked with them. It's Paulding, Polk, and Harrison, which was our judicial circuit. Now Paulding has its own circuit, but we still have a Paulding Harrison affiliation. Matter of fact, our task force office is in Harrison County, so they have officers assigned to it. Dallas Police has an officer assigned to it. I have 4 assigned to it. Bremen Police Department has officers assigned to it. So, if we need somebody here that everybody don't know, I can bring in one of their agents that's from another agency. What I like most about it, it's run under the GBI. Their records keeping and evidence keeping is as good as it gets. Since 1993, I think, when Bruce started and put us into that under that umbrella, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's ever been an issue, one, with evidence missing, money missing, dope missing, or cases getting messed up. Their paperwork is phenomenal. It's a pain, but when you start messing with lots of money and lots of drugs and lots of assets that people are seizing, your paperwork's got to be exactly right. Drugs is a funny thing. I was involved myself in one over in New Hope. We sold this guy 210 pounds of marijuana. This was back in the marijuana heydays. And we took $214,000 cash from him. I don't know if any of y'all's ever sat down and divided out and counted up $214,000 cash. It's a pain in the fanny. We had the sheriff's desk. We started stacking it up in $100 bills, and he had a big desk, and we had his desk completely covered in stacks of hundreds. And we still didn't have a room, so we had to bring in tables. It's a pain, but somebody asked me when we got done, it's like, did you ever think about taking that money and running? I thought, no. I said, you never even considered it? I said, no. But I can see where somebody be like, well, it's dope money. If I took, I need to pay a car payment around behind on my house payments, maybe I stick in my pocket. So luckily, I've never been tempted with that. But there's a lot of people they run their career and they run their life over money. Yes, ma'am, Miss Lydia.
Were you able to seize that money? Was it from a drug?
Yes, we sold him 200 pounds of pot and went back and got our pot back and his money too.
Well, what about the holder? Isn't he trying to pull that back, or you can't?
Holder's trying to take away everything that the federal government's involved with, where a lot of them is they call it HIDA. A lot of people are assigned to these federal task force where they're doing a lot of wiretapping. Pretty much all they do. I know DeKalb County's gotten a little bit of trouble. The feds pulled out. DeKalb County didn't quit working. They're still working under the umbrella of the feds. I know 2 sheriffs have done told them they come back in their county, they're going to put them in jail. Federal government, hope I don't offend anybody. If you'll do all the work, get all the paperwork done, dot all the I's and cross all the T's, get all the people in jail, get all the warrants wrote, get all everything done, and if you'll hand it to them with a nice little bow on the top of it, if they're having a good day, they might take it and prosecute it. So I don't have a whole lot for the feds. They pick and choose, and they're in it for the money. You know, we have somebody that causes us all kind of problems. We should be able to go to the feds. For some reason, their laws are better than the state laws are. My brother's a prime example of it. They arrested him in 1989 for conspiracy to manufacture methamphetamine. They took him to court, and I went to court, and it was kind of a joke. They didn't have anything on him any more than they'd have on any of us in this room. He was a carpenter. He was driving nails on the house. U.S. Marshals pulled up and said, "Come with us." He had nothing on him, nothing. They gave him 25 years. He had to serve 22 and a half years in federal prison. I can name you 50 people who we've caught with sacks and sacks of dope who has gone to state prison and out and back and back and out and out. It's like a revolving door. We put them in prison. They let them out on parole. They violate parole. They put them back in prison. So for some reason, the federal government's laws are better than ours, and they was whacking people on conspiracy charges. Extremely scary because they could convict you of the same thing that convicted my brother of, because they caught him with nothing other than somebody said he was somewhere he wouldn't. So I don't have a lot for the feds, but I don't know what Holder's going to do. I don't think Holder knows what he's going to do. I don't think they're interested in what goes on in Paulding County. I don't think they care, unless there's some money in it for them.
But they're not gonna allow you to keep, the forfeiture monies and things like you used to, or has he actually influenced?
He has not yet that I know of. I don't think the state's gonna listen to him anyway on what the state does. I think he'll have to say so on whether the federal government's involved in it or not. But the feds have all kind of things to do to watch your life that we don't have, and I don't really care if they butt out of our lives anyway. So, anything else?
Yes, sir. Drug Task Force was involved in a shooting a couple of years ago.
Yes.
There's been a suit filed, I understand. Any comments on that? Are y'all gonna be able to settle that, or is it something that gonna put us in the news?
It's a pending lawsuit, so I wouldn't say a whole lot about it other than we had made a controlled buy of the house previously, had a search warrant, we arrived to serve a search warrant, made announcements, made entry into the house, met the guy in the hallway, and the windows were blacked out, had plastic over them, couldn't see, asked to show him his hands, and he brandished what they thought at the time was a weapon, which wound up being a can of pepper spray. Come out of his pants with something black and shiny and got shot in the hallway. So right now they have filed, I don't think they filed a suit, I think they filed a lot of notice putting us on notice that they was requiring to sue. But
Okay.
what I read
I saw one filed October 18th and 14th.
you're right, they did file a suit because I was reading it and it's full of non-truths, so it's court battle. A lot of them are talking about the no-knock warrants. I think there's a lot, general legislators probably right now they got somebody trying to make a thing where it's almost impossible to get a no-knock warrant. We read the bill, the Sheriff Association is going to fight the bill because it tells us when we can do our job, more how we can do our job. I think it still needs to be up to what information we've got and we present it to a judge. I don't think they need to take control away from us to be able to tell a judge what we think is going on, and the judge to be able to say yes you can or no you can't. I think we need to leave all that more into the local people than we do in state politics. But yes, sir.
Now, you were saying earlier that, people that are going to do that stuff are going to do it. Ever since the beginning of time, forbidden fruit's always been a kind of I guess tempting to some people who think something's more they want to do because it's something I'm not supposed to be doing. You think legalization plays any part in going forward with some of this stuff?
I don't see where it's gonna change anything. I mean, Oxycontins are legal. So, you know, they're prescribed, they're getting them from a doctor. Most of these people doing Oxycontins are going for either a problem or a made-up problem, and they're coming out of the doctor's office, going and getting them filled, and then they're selling half to 3/4 of them and doing the rest of them themselves.
And the pill mills too.
That's what I'm talking about. They go to the pill mill, but if you go in and tell them you got a problem, you see a doctor and they write you a prescription for it, then they go sell half of them. Will legalizing it work? I don't think so. I think you're going to have to take away the supply, and how you do that, I wished I knew the answer. Yes, sir.
Gary, I have a confession that's like between the air. While driving around the hall earlier today, I was eating sausage biscuits.
So I don't need handcuffs.
I'd say lock him up. When I did meet a police officer or sheriff's deputy coming in, I did hold it down to the other side.
You didn't eat a biscuit while driving here. You did? You did? Or you didn't?
No, I was thinking about it. Then I remembered they wanted to give a ticket.
So you was conspiring. You was conspiring.
I was conspiring to eat that sausage.
But when it went to court, they had no evidence, so the judge said, I'm sorry, we can't go forward.
I would like to say that.
Well, Courtney,
And then they said, where's the evidence? And the judge said, I dismissed it. There was no hamburger.
I would like to say that. I would like to say that all my guys have got more sense than to write anybody a ticket for eating going down the road. If they don't, they will have.
Did you get that on tape?
Bubby's got you, man. You're gonna be mad every time.
Texting, driving. I've done it. But it was, guess what, you're sitting at a red light, and the person in front of you puts their head down, and you know what to do. Scream, let's go.
They're praying.
With no cameras and nothing gonna happen for it. How many people texted on their way over here today? Do this. The truth.
I think I did.
Come on. Think about it.
No, I made a call.
How many people this week's been riding down the road and texted on their phones?
Oh, I have.
We all do it. Why? I don't know. I finally made a point to myself going, I am not gonna do it. But I don't know, when you get home today and I do it all the time, it's like, was that light red or green? You get so busy and told in work that we forget to pay attention to what we're doing. I've got home a lot of times and going, I don't remember one red light, whether it was red or green. It's been a rough year for us. Sheriff's office we've been getting whacked every time we turn around. We lost a deputy that was see if I can get through this. Stepson shot him and his mom and his sister. And I say that, I don't want to bring us down and get us out of here in a bad mood. I say that to ask you for this. Can't make you pray, but all of y'all that do pray and you believe in the good Lord, remember us, remember me in my office when you do pray. Without y'all and without him backing us, we can't make it. I've seen enough horrible things and enough crime scenes to hone a village. If I never see another dead person or another dead baby, it would be all too soon. I try to make my guys not, and we all do it, you try not to become hard. The job we do, and I tell everybody, we're like the garbage men. We take out the trash. But I try to remind my guys also, don't forget, we spend 90% of our time dealing with 10% of the population around here. So don't forget the 90% of the people that we do it for, not the 10% of the people that we do it to. Have patience with us if you have a problem with us. I met with a church about a month ago, and it's with all this stuff going on with the unarmed shootings in the county or in the communities. We don't have a problem here. I met with a church, some of the leaders, some of the kids that was coming there, and they asked me, how do these people that's unarmed that has confrontation with the cops keep from getting killed? I said, it's real simple. Comply. You don't even have to like it. We don't even have to be right. Just comply. There's a place for you to have your time. It's called a courtroom. But in a dark alley, on a dark street, in a dark car on the side of the road, is not the place for you to put up an argument, put up a confrontation, just comply. Even if we're wrong, there's a better way to deal with it. If the officer's treating you wrong, call me and file a complaint. We have IA to take care of that. You know, confronting armed officers on the side of the road, you're not going to win. I challenge you also, go on YouTube and look at some of these people that's actually been put on my side of it. Go up and knock on some of these doors and get confronted with somebody with a gun. Get somebody charging you that's twice your size with a no gun. I don't know if y'all seen it. There's been 2 different ones that different sheriff's offices brought in. Not real sure even how to say it, but brought in people that's anti-police and put them in training scenarios. And every time they do it, they shoot unarmed people. And then they ask them, well, what was different? Well, it happened just like that. You know, in my line of work, there's no pause, there's no rewind, there's no standby. It's now. You know, when I do this, was that my finger or was that a gun? It's split second, and whether you go home at night and whether you get to finish raising your child or kiss your wife good night, it's based on the decisions you make in a split second. So, keeping that in mind, like I said, please pray for us and keep us safe, and we'll continue to try to do the best job we know how.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.